Today I want to talk about the race to the bottom. The race to the bottom in the taxi business. The race to the bottom applies in two ways. When Uber and Bolt, let me start with Uber. When Uber came to Kenya, the prices were very high. So when anybody ordered a trip with Uber, they used to pay almost 3-4 times what they are paying today because Uber had a monopoly. Around 2015-16, there was no competition and Uber prices were what they were. If you didn't afford what they were charging, then you had to opt for other alternatives. When Bolt came to compete on price, so prices went down. They didn't go down as much, but since Bolt arrived, the prices in the taxi business went down substantially. A lot of online taxi drivers tried to resist, but that resistance was short-lived. As more applications get into the market, they get in there trying to compete on the basis of price. And what is happening is that every app is coming and racing towards the bottom and making prices much more affordable for passengers and for riders, but not favorable for drivers. At the same time, I have realized that drivers have also started cannibalizing themselves and participating in the race to the bottom, but in a different way. And by so doing, they are also putting themselves in a very hardship position because they cannot make money. As you can imagine, today there are so many registered Uber drivers in Kenya, but not all of them have vehicles to drive. I can give you examples. Like 2-3 months ago, I posted a car that I needed a driver. So I took the photos of that car. Somebody had come to me saying that they want me to help them to recruit a driver. So I posted those photos in several WhatsApp groups and also posted it on Facebook group where we have a lot of taxi drivers, and also uploaded it on my YouTube channel. And you cannot believe that I got more than 100 drivers reaching out to me saying that they want a car to work with. And I can tell you, they were willing to pay me any amount of money that I ask for, as long as I give them a car to work with. And that is the situation that is happening in Kenya today. There are so many drivers today who don't have cars to work with. And the moment you lose the car that you are working with, some drivers are actually even staying out for 3-4 months before they get another car to work with. In between that time, when they are looking for a car to work with, they are ready to offer any amount to anybody who is offering them a car. And any amount, what do I mean? It is just like any other job seeker. When you are jobless and you are in that desperate position, what people go out there saying is that they are ready to do any form of job. They are saying that they are ready to take any salary as long as they are given that job. And that is what Uber driver today are doing. They are saying that as long as you give me your car, I will give you 2,000 shillings per day. I will give you 1,800. I will give you even 1,000. So any amount that can make them get that car, they are ready to promise that to the partner. And what is happening? Right now, partners are getting to understand this game much better. They are not willing to release their cars to anybody who is paying them less than 1,400 shillings per day. They are not willing to release their cars to anyone who is promising to pay them less than 9,000 per week. But a while back, drivers used to pay partners even 7,000 shillings per week. That is like literally 1,100 per day. But right now, the competition is very high among drivers. And actually, I have seen even some drivers going to backstab their own drivers. When, for example, you become friend with me, you know that I have a partner's car, and then I tell you that my partner is asking 1,200 per day from me, and by any chance you get to know my partner, I have seen a driver actually now approaching that partner and promising to give that partner 1,500 shillings per day instead of what I am giving that partner 1,200 per day, so that he can be given the car himself and that car be taken away from me. So that is something that is happening so much in the market today, because we all agree that buying a car is more difficult than becoming a taxi driver. So we have seen every day a lot of drivers getting the required documents, getting the papers that one needs to become a driver, but they are not getting those cars to drive. And if you check my channel, I posted a video like 1 week ago of a guy that I actually helped to obtain all the paperwork to become an Uber driver. He stayed out for a month before he could get a car to drive, but he went to Fleet Simplify, he got a car there, and he was being charged 2,000 shillings per day. If drivers can agree to work on 2,000 shillings per day, what other amount will they not promise to the partner? So if you get a partner asking you for 1,500 per day, you will see it as a miracle because you have already worked with 2,000 per day. So what I can challenge drivers today is to come together. They should stop competing among themselves to promise the maximum amount of money to partners, because that can only lead to the race to the bottom. The race to the bottom, meaning that the drivers will only go down. Already taxi companies have their race to the bottom, and you drivers, you have a race to the bottom against yourselves, meaning that you are promising a lot of money to partners so that you can beat your fellow driver in that competition. This is what I advise drivers to do. If we have a functional digital taxi association in Kenya, they must be willing, those officials, to sit down and set the price ranges, all the fair compensation of partners, meaning that they need to sit down and say, if I am a partner or a car owner and I give you my car, and let's say these cars should be categorized, let's say between a car that is more than 4 years old, a car that is between 0 to 2 years old in terms of being used locally, so those are ex-Japan cars, and then those cars again should have subcategories of engine sizes. Let's say you have a car that is 1 year old in Kenya, but it is 650 cc. How much money should a partner ask for that kind of car? Let's say someone else here has a Honda Fit that is 1300 cc that was imported in Kenya like 3, 4, 5 years ago, a car of 2012, year of manufacture. In case of that car, how much money should a partner ask from that kind of driver? Assuming that today I buy a Toyota Passo that is 1,000 cc, very fuel efficient, cool and close to a brand new car, very comfortable. How much money should I ask from that partner? Also considering the price of that car from the market. The Association of Digital Taxi Drivers and the drivers themselves, they must come together and provide those guidelines to partners so that partners don't exploit the drivers, so that drivers don't cannibalize themselves. They don't destroy their earnings by trying to compete. And it makes sense, because some driver will say it's better make less money than make nothing, and that's why they will promise any amount as long as they beat their fellow drivers. So really, that is something that has touched my heart, but it is very well understood. But the way the drivers have been acting in the last 2 weeks, we have seen drivers trying to set their own prices, setting prices from Nairobi CBD to JKIA, saying that they will no longer be applying the prices that have been set automatically by the app. They used a very logical model to try and estimate what is the rate of wear and tear, what is the price of petrol for that distance that will be traveled, what is the usual traffic situation on those roads. And then they said from town to JKIA, a fair compensation will be something between 1,000 to 1,500 instead of what the app is charging right now at around 6 to 900. So those kind of logical reasonings must be developed by the Association of Taxi Drivers or any other group of like-minded drivers, so that it can provide guidelines to partners on how much money they should ask from drivers, and also to drivers to educate them. Because let me tell you, a lot of drivers are in this business, but they have no idea of how it works. They found themselves there by mistake. Maybe they lost their jobs, or they came from the village and immediately got themselves in taxi driving, but they have not those negotiation skills. So can we come up with those guidelines and also educate our drivers on how to negotiate with partners, so that they don't go there and start promising so much money and then they set the bar too high. Right now, let me tell you, to be just frank with you, I cannot buy a car today and give it out to a driver who is not giving me 1,500 per day, because I am sure I will get another driver the next day. Even if that driver who comes the next day will not stay for long, immediately he leaves, I will get another one and another one and another one. I will never, there is no car in this country that can stay without a driver as long as the partner is willing to give it out. So many drivers are out there without cars. But the situation is going to get worse, because every day new drivers are being recruited, but very few partners are buying cars to give those drivers to work with. Think about it.